which I know it's like 70s with the 2025 flare or whatever, but yeah,
Yeah.
it does look so good. Did she
Yeah.
style it?
Yeah, she did. So I yeah, and
Now
which
you're gonna have to learn how to do that.
I know. Well, that's why I was like, tell me what you're doing. And every product she used, I'm like, okay, I need a picture of that. I need a picture of this so I can replicate. Oh,
Yes.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it took me forever to finally like start to grasp it.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, awesome. I'm excited. I don't know. Hopefully some other people are going to jump on here. If not, they can watch the recording. And I actually made a training on this that I put into Progress University already. And so I'm probably not going to go into it the way that I did before, and I'm not going to go into it real heavy, but I want to, for anybody that gets to watch the recording, I want to make sure that we make a few announcements. So we've been working since we came back, so excited. So we're going to have updates to Progress University. We are moving it to a better platform. And what that means for everybody that's on here and is not on here yet is that everything is going to be in one place. So we're not going to be leveraging or using Telegram anymore to communicate. We're going to have it all in one platform. It's going to have its own app. And I'm really excited because it's going to gamify your progress for your own business and for yourself so much more. And it's going to be so much more fun on the platform that we're moving it over to. So our goal is to have that completed within 90 days. And we are going to work on a launch for that. And so as part of that launch, one of the things that our clients will be getting some more information about is that we are going to have a referral program for this. And so I'm really excited about this. And this is going to be something that is only going to be offered to our clients right now. And so you all will get some more information on that in the next week or so. And so, we got some feedback from the surveys that we sent out the other day, some really great feedback. So thank you all so much for giving us that. That helped me so much. And I was really glad to see how it's actually helped you all. And so we actually have a plan for the first real curriculum launch in there for the CEO protocol. And so the CEO protocol is really going to be the way to master your money as a CEO of your business. And what are the simple daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly tasks that you need to embody and take care of as the CEO of your business so that you can grow it simply. And it's one of those things that where I want to help you to not just, it's not about just looking at numbers, it's about understanding which ones do you need to look at and just having that confidence that when you are serving your patient or your patients, your clients, when you're leading your team, like you're just going to have so much confidence and conviction in your own ability as far as a leader is concerned with the way that we're going to help you build out your own CEO protocol that it's going to completely change the way that you show up in your business. You're going to notice so much of a difference from this time now to this time next year. And we want to keep this simple because there's so many systems, there's so many things that are thrown at us every day. There's apps out there, all kinds of stuff. And so we want to keep things as simple as possible because simple scales. And so really excited to launch this. And so you all will get access to that. You've already got some teasers in Progress University that relate to this as far as the CEO protocol. But we're going to make this really simple where you can start from the beginning, go all the way through the end, and you're going to have a simple system for being a CEO of your business and leading with data, but putting people first. And so excited to share that with you all. So we'll be letting you all know some more info about that again on the referral program and then the updated platform. And it's going to be so easy to be able to get in there, not like it was on Squarespace because that's currently where it's hosted. So I'm excited for that for you all. And then the thing that couple other things for people that are in Clarity to Cash Flow, and we are working with you, and our team is taking care of accounting for you, and we are doing taxes for you. We will be sending out some more information for that also by the 15th, and then we will start to send out engagement letters. And so we have to have that as part of standard practice, even though we already have a contract with you. That's just part of making sure that we're all on the same page. So any tax returns that we're doing for you will have engagement letters. We have most of your information as it pertains to your business. So our goal is to go through these tax returns, get these knocked out, focusing on accuracy and precision first and foremost, and getting these knocked out as soon as we can thereafter, so that we can focus on the rest of 2025. And then after business returns are completed, then we will go into personal returns and focus on completing those. And so our goal is to have everything finished by the deadline. But if we're not able to, then we will get in touch with you personally to let you know what the status of that is and get you taken care of. So, do you have anything else to add, Courtney?
The only thing I can think about is that, again, if we're helping with taxes, just one specific note is that 1099 filings are due by January 31st. And so if we've requested any W-9s from you, that we have the deadline of January 15th so that we have enough time to get those filed on time for them.
Yes. Littles. Littles. We don't need that in there. Quit. Yeah, I'm glad that you actually brought that up. And so, as far as just anything compliant, so this is the boardroom call, and we didn't get to really have a reset, and so maybe that's something that we should address first. So, we really changed the nature of these. We want to focus on helping entrepreneurs build businesses that they love, and then really gives them freedom, right? And so I didn't feel like the coffee chats were really giving the identity to what we wanted to offer for people and what we wanted to focus on. And so CEOs always need their board of advisors. And so I wanted to my goal has always been to create a community where people could come in here and we are your board of advisors. And obviously, the Progress fam is advising you. We are working with you. We are helping you to build your business and tax planning and all of these things. But instead of going to Google and going to Facebook forums and going to social media for answers that we have, we want you to be able to do that right here and just keep it super simple. And as we build out Progress University, a lot of people gave us really great feedback, like I said, on that survey, and they gave us some really good insights on what are the things that they still want to know more about. So we actually are taking that. We have a list of this information, and we are going to create that as modules and trainings for you all, and not these 60-minute, not these 2-hour long trainings. They're going to be short, simple, to the point, so that you get the information that you need fast and that you can implement it fast if it's something that requires implementation. We just want to advise you. We are not here to take your time or to fill it up with unnecessary information. And so these trainings are always meant to be simple, to be direct, to help you understand what is the value of them, and then to be immediately implementable, if that's a word. And then the boardroom, again, is just your opportunity to build out your board of advisors and build this and be part of this community where you can come in here, and whether it is us or it's other people in here, because we're all business owners, right? So there's going to be other people. They're going to have questions that you have but never thought to ask, and they're going to have answers that you didn't know that they had. And that's what I love about masterminds, right? Because when you integrate two or more things in the form of people, then they actually create more than the sum of their parts. And that's really what a mastermind is meant to do. And so we want that to be what your board of advisors is for you. And so there's going to be 2 calls every month, just like there was. Now, we took off in December for the holidays, and then we had a lot of prep to do for the end of the year, just with taxes, accounting, finances, things like that, tax planning, things like that. That will not be the case for this coming year, but nonetheless, we'll have 2 calls every month, and one is really going to be focused on strategy. The other one's really going to be focused on data-driven decision making. And so, but this is not going to be the boring stuff. This is going to be helping you to make sense of your numbers. And this makes me think of how the other day I was actually writing an email, and it made me realize how so many people, they say they struggle to understand money, but the truth is that you're using numbers every single day. And I was actually talking to one of our clients that has a med spa, and just she was talking about how there were certain things around money and finances that she still didn't feel like she had a grasp on, and that she didn't understand numbers. But the thing is that you're reading labs to determine the results that people have, and then you're using that information to make decisions on their treatment plan. And so you're using numbers all day long. You just got to learn how to tell the story of your business and of your own cash flow, just like you do with the numbers if you have a marketing agency, a construction company, a med spa, whatever the case may be. And so we want to help you master that stuff and then use that as the foundation of driving decisions objectively in your business, to make the most sense. So I'm really excited for this year. I don't know about you, Courtney, but like I was telling somebody yesterday, like it is, I don't think it's like just the beginning of the year energy. I feel like it is the energy, like it's not the beginning of the year energy. It's just like like a legitimate excitement for the rest of the year. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had this excitement in like ending November. You know, we had it before the beginning of the year, and
Yeah.
it's just been the anticipation. And it kind of, I think, has felt like, oh, we can now start because it's the beginning of the year, even though we've started.
Yeah. And it made me think about how everybody needs a reset. Everybody needs a break. Like we cannot go 100% all the time, and I'm one to talk, right? But there's so many of us that do that, and you just get used to it. And there's a couple of things that I thought about that, especially last night as I was thinking through, what got you here won't get you there. And that grind and that just like doing all the time works until there's a point that it literally doesn't. And what it made me think about is like entrepreneurs are so good about giving that they're oftentimes not good at receiving. And so when you're not good at receiving, you're not good about making space to be able to receive in the first place. And you've got to be able to receive so that you can enhance the quality of what you give. And so I just thought about that last night with somebody else that was just talking about how they didn't know how to articulate like what is really going on for them right now. And just simply put, hopefully a lot of people got that rest and that reset over Christmas and the New Year's, which if we're being honest, like some parts of my brain, certain parts of the day are still like in vacation mode. But I'm like slowly getting out of it. But I was able to like truly see how creating space is probably the most important thing that you do not doing. Your doing should only take up a fraction of the time. And it makes me think about the book 10X is easier than 2X. And they talk about this a lot in there. And I think it's Dan Sullivan. Is Dan Sullivan the one that he interviewed?
I feel like Dan Sullivan wrote the other book that I like, not that one.
I think
I'm
that
checking
Dan
right now.
Sullivan wrote it. And because he interviewed is easier than um
Oh,
yeah,
it
Ben
is. It is.
Hardy.
Yeah. He co-wrote it with Dan Sullivan. Yeah.
Yes. So Dan Sullivan talks about this a lot. Like he's really good about articulating this simply and just the value of not overcommitting yourself or just committing yourself even if you do have the time and making space in there. And like he talked about his calendar, like he works a third of the year,
Mhm.
which a lot of people can't say that. And so but just looking at what he's achieved over the course of his life and he adheres to that routine and how valuable it is to create space. So that was one of the things I thought about, and it gave me a lot of clarity on setting the big domino as well. And so like this is actually a framework that we created a while back. And so when we are onboarding clients into Clarity to Cash Flow, we create a 12-month plan for you and your business. And because we can look at your data and we determine, and we'll work with our clients on this, but we look at their data to confirm what is it that they actually need to work on to unlock the next level of profitability for them. Because we don't want you chasing revenues. We want you to keep a lot of what you have and make sure you're growing profitably because a lot of people don't. A lot of people are great at growing their top line, but not their bottom line. And so we have a business blueprint called the 7 Ps. And that is what we use to assess the big domino. And so there are 7 core components of building a very profitable business. And I'm going to share my screen. I think I have it pulled up here. Yeah, your big domino. Let me put this in a new screen. Yeah. Um, so this is really setting your big domino. And why I like this is just because it's simple. Like it's so much easier to focus on one thing. I mean, you really can't focus on more than one thing and do anything great. You can do a bunch of things good, but you can't do anything great by focusing on more than one thing. And so I don't know how other people do their planning, but there's so many different ways to do your own planning. And I really wanted to create something that was going to be super simple, like what do we know we need to focus on? And then all of our energy, all of our effort go toward that one thing. Hey, sir. No, no, sir. Um, he is being mouthy. A child. So this is the document that is in Progress University already. There's a training for this in there. And Val has got that uploaded. So you can go in there and see that and break this down in depth. I'm not going to go through all of this, but there are 5 parts on here. But I would say the first 3 are the most important. And so going through and doing this self-assessment to identify what do you really need to focus on. And so if you've already done your goal setting or your plans for 2025, or maybe just the first quarter, I'd encourage you to go back through and do this and see if you can find a theme in there. Like, what are you struggling with? Or what do you want to make better? You don't always have to have a problem, okay? Maybe you just want to make things better, because we are focused on solutions, not on problems. And so what I love about this, one of the things I didn't even realize this. It's funny how things just always work out and you didn't realize that it was going to work to your advantage. So a lot of people know that my husband has a gun shop and he chose the name for it. And I really still don't know why to this day, like that was his inspiration. He told me, but I can't remember, which is horrible. But the name of it is salvo weaponry. And salvo means the simultaneous discharge or firing of multiple weapons. It's the coordinated and synchronized release of projectiles or munitions for a concentrated attack. And so I thought about this in terms of setting goals and in terms of setting core initiatives on a quarterly basis. That's one of the parts of the CEO protocol. And there's clients where we go through and we're doing quarterly planning with them and we will set their core initiatives. And those are essentially, like, think of them as projects that are going to give you leverage, that are going to move the needle exponentially more, right, when this core initiative is completed. And so I got to thinking about, it would be easier if we had one theme for 12 months, where you're going to have different projects, you're going to have different initiatives, but it's like, what is the overall theme for that next 12 months? Because if we can just focus on that one big domino, it's going to set so many other things in motion, right? And so we want to have the biggest impact, and we can do that when we focus on one thing. And even in working with the Progress fam on this as well, one of the things that we actually did is that we just got rid of all of the core initiatives and having like multiple ones per quarter, and every person have one thing that they're in charge of. And we're all focused, like right now, we're all focused on processes around leads for Progress University. So our big domino for 2025 is processes. Last year was positioning, and we focused on nothing but sales and messaging and just being able to attract more great people into our ecosystem. And I would say that we succeeded in that. We have so much momentum now. We have so much clarity that we did not have this time last year, and that was all we focused on. If we had not been clear on that, then I mean, our team was great, the business was great, but we wouldn't have as much freedom and flexibility as we do now, and the clarity and just the certainty around our movement. And so for this year, the focus is on processes. And the reason that we chose this, as far as like going through, looking at our goals, what did we want to achieve? How do we want to refine our offers? We didn't change anything, we just made it better. How did we want to refine our offers and attract more of the right people in there? And one of the things that we realized is that all of Progress has been built off of referrals, and that is such a huge blessing for us. But there's a challenge in there that I haven't really learned to overcome myself yet as the owner of this company. And I want to be able to have a more consistent system on attracting the right people in here. And while it is such a blessing to be able to get referrals in here, and that is the way that we get people, there's an element of uncertainty or control that I'm not okay with. Maybe it's with being a woman, I don't know, but I want control. And so I want, we are so good about operationalizing businesses. We're so good about systems within the operations of a company, around compliance, around finances, things of that nature. But sales and marketing was the place where we were weak. And so that's what we have put all of our energy on. So while we are still taking care of our clients, we can't afford to do 5 other things. We are still a smaller team. And we don't want to take away from the experience of our clients just because we have our own goals that we want to focus on. And so this goal is also going to help enhance you all and our clients, right? Because with the feedback like we've gotten already, we have so much more clarity on this is more of the stuff that you all would like to see in there. This is more of what you would like to have help on. And with that insight, it also helped us to be able to understand, well, if they want more insight on those things, so do other business owners. And so being able to speak to that and really focus on leveraging that in launching Progress University, all of our processes, our Big Domino is focused on the launch plan for that, it's focused on the marketing plan for that, the sales plan for that, the referral process for that. And so everything, the theme is processes for everything, and it's all focused on Progress University, and all of our team is aware of that, and they're in alignment, and it just makes things so much simpler. And so we went through in our own way. We did this, what was it, like middle of December when we went through and we did our planning and we did this, but we essentially went through and did our own self-assessment. Is there anything that like brings to mind or need to share, Court?
I mean, 2025 is going to be great for anyone working with us. That's for sure.
Oh, no. I do want to add that this is important, is that our goal is to help our clients make 100 million in sales this year. So our goal for 2024 was 50 million in sales. We were just shy of that, but so close. And we got to go back and get like the hard and fast numbers on it. But our goal, like we're going to double that goal because we were so clear. And because we have simplified things so much for 2025, I don't see why that's not going to be achievable at all. I hope that we find out that that goal was too low, is what actually is going to happen.
Yes.
So, and going through and setting your Big Domino, just going through, I want you to go in there in Progress University, take this self-assessment, super simple as far as like the 7 P's, and identify, going through this kind of decision-making flow chart of which one do you need to isolate on, and that needs to become your theme for 2025. And so when you go through and do this, then go back through your goals, simplify those. And I know that it's going to give you a lot of clarity in your business. Like when it just clicks, you're going to know. And I would love to know what your Big Domino is for yourself. Now, you know, if you have come on board with us within the last, what I'd say probably 3 to 4 months, when we created a 12-month plan for you, then you already know what we set for your Big Domino. But I want you to go back and see, does that still align with you, or do you feel like you need to change that to something else? Now, if you were onboarded with us prior to that, then you may not have that 12-month plan. And this is why this assessment would be even more powerful for you to go through. And when we update your contract and we refocus for the next 12 months, then we go through this because it just makes things so much more simple, and everybody's on the same page when we know that as well. And then the next thing I want you to do with this is to be able to take this and share this with your team and anybody that you work with or helps you building your business, your team, your partner. If you have I know some people are husband and wife working, or if you have a business partner, or if you have other people that are like mentors to you, let them know this, because this is going to help them help you better when everybody is aware of that. And so the 7, just to go through these real quick, the 7 P's of the 7P framework. So it's purpose, and very simply, are you clear on the business vision, mission, and values? And when I think about this, I think about a triangle. And the cool thing I learned about triangles last year is that triangles are actually the strongest shape in nature, which I think is, and I didn't know this when putting this together, but in understanding and defining your purpose, it consists of 3 parts, which is your vision, your mission, and your values. And so when we were working on this at the Women with Grit retreat, we actually put this together in the shape of a triangle because that is the strongest shape, right? And so this is going to make your business strong. Your purpose is the biggest thing that will define the success or the failure of your business. And there's 2 reasons why. One, a lot of people blame cash flow issues, or they blame the market, or whatever the case may be. And I'm not a believer of that. I think that the problem comes from not really having any clear vision or mission, because business is hard and you got to have something that is going to leave you where I still have a reason to do this when in the face of everything else, opposition, challenges, everything else seems to be falling apart. Like this is going to hold it together, right? Because this is really the glue of your team, of you being able to be an effective leader, of your communication, of everything. So really whenever I've studied businesses that have crumbled or people didn't last very long, it's the ones that were in it for money. It's the ones that left their job because they didn't want to work for somebody else, or it's the ones that started a company because they split off a partnership and it was based on competition rather than collaboration or truly caring about serving other people. This has been the biggest problem. And then the second part of that is communication, and communication will make or break any relationship, a company. I mean, if you look, they say that money is the reason that most marriages fail, or money is like the top reason that marriages fail. I don't know what the percentage is now. But it's a pretty high failure rate related to money. But really the problem isn't money. The problem is not understanding how to communicate about it. It's not understanding money, which when people don't understand things, they can't communicate effectively about it. And so it really comes down to a lack of communication at the end of it. If you look at problems with kiddos, if you look at problems with leadership, with team members, anything like that, like are you on the same page? Do they understand what the vision, the mission, the values of the company are? Are they even in alignment with your values? And if this isn't very clearly communicated from the get-go in that interview process before you decide to marry somebody when you are raising your children, you will have issues. And so first you have to define your purpose, and then you have to be able to communicate it, and you got to do that relentlessly. And so that is the thing that I will always come back to. That is one of the first questions we have for our clients is, do you know what that vision is? When we are working with you and we are bringing you on into our ecosystem, we want to know what your goals are. We want to understand like what drives you. Because if we don't understand that, then none of this other stuff is really going to ever fall into place and work for you. The next thing on here is positioning. And this is something, like I said, this was our big domino last year. And this too will sabotage so many great businesses. I see poor positioning burn a lot of people out because they're attracting a lot of the wrong people, or they're just serving anybody that comes through their door because they're not clear on who they want to serve. They're clear on who they are and what they want, but the piece that they miss from that is who they want to serve. And so we don't want you to create a business where you're always chasing people. We want you to be able to put stuff out there that attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones. And that's the way that marketing, that's the way that sales should work. But when you're not clear on your purpose, it's really hard to do that. And an example of where I see people go wrong with this is when we're putting out ads that you want to be a high-end service provider, but you're putting out ads that are focusing on promotions and discounts, that's sending out the wrong message. And so you're getting people that are maybe coming through the door, or maybe they're not because you're offering promotions and discounts, but your price is too high. And the reason is that people aren't coming in there and staying because you're attracting the wrong ones. Or you're getting a lot of people and your books are filled, but you don't have the cash flow to show for it because you're just grinding and hustling all the time. And your books are full of a lot of the wrong people. And so positioning is so important to give you the confidence. And what I loved about messaging, this sounds so cheesy, is that it really helped me to get clear on like who I was and who, like, what is the purpose of progress? Like what is my purpose? Like what is the purpose of what we're doing? What does progress mean to people? What does clarity mean to people? And it made me get super clear on those things. And when I got super clear on those things, it was so much simpler to make really hard decisions when you're just clear and convicted on that, what your positioning is and what makes you the authority in whatever you do. And so that is why that is the second piece, because products, people, processes, none of that stuff matters if you don't know who you want to serve. Because if you are, so say we put purpose first and then we started focusing on products and services, and then we have all these products and services. We say you're like a med spa and you have all these pieces of equipment and you were doing all of these treatments, but you just can't really get any traction. It's like you're spending all this money and you're making just enough to cover the bills, which is not a way to live. And the problem is that you didn't focus on positioning first. And then after the fact, you start to do that and you realize like none of this stuff that we're offering really aligns with the people that we want to serve. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make. So I want to help you avoid that mistake. And you can always fix this, but it's painful. We don't want you to have to do that. So once you're clear on the positioning, then you can have clarity on what are the products and services that I want to be able to offer people based off of who we want to serve and what our purpose is, right? And so how are you going to optimize these for the impact that you want to have and the profitability? Now, you will notice down at the bottom, number 6, pricing is one of the last things, because what I see so many people do, especially when you're starting out in business, this is where people go to Google, and we don't want you to do that. They are setting prices based off of an industry standard. But the thing is that everybody's business is just as different as humans are. Like DNA, there's no two DNA that are the same. And it's the same thing with businesses. And so when you're setting your prices based off of like what an industry standard is, that could work for you. But more times than not, what we see is it's shooting people in the foot. Because especially when you are wanting to provide, if you're in progress in this ecosystem, you don't want to just be average. You want to be elevated. Like you want to be the person that's known for what you offer people. And I know that about whoever is in here. And so you don't want to offer just anything that you can order off Timu and mark up 100% and resell it. That is not what you want to be known for. And so with that being the case, you can't just offer things at industry standard prices. You have to be able to charge a price that you feel good about, that allows you to create the experience for your people that you want. And so that's why it's so important to be able to isolate, what do we want to offer? Who are the people that we need on our team to be able to offer that level of experience? Or that even that product, and not even just thinking about services and treatments in terms of providing an experience. There are very much places that provide an experience through the products that you buy. And so you can provide experiences around both of those things. And especially if you are offering a product and a service together to just really make that a home run. And so when you are clear on that experience that you want to provide people and how you want them to go through their results journey with you and that transformation with you, then it gets so much simpler to be able to isolate who are the core people that we need on our team to be able to fulfill at this level, and then what are the critical processes as part of that. Now, everybody knows that processes are a critical part of a business and that we all need those. That's a no-brainer. But which ones? Like, where do you start? And this is where we also have a training for this in Progress University, a high level overview, but we're actually going to be making a curriculum in Progress University later this year, specifically on building out your client results journey so that you can craft your own as well and make this so much simpler. And you're going to be able to identify what are the critical processes that I need. And one of my favorite things about the client results journey is building in what I call intentional inefficiencies. And so it's areas of your client results journey where yes, it may take you more time, or it might be more expensive for you to be able to offer that value. You could do it more efficiently. You could do it at a lower cost, but then that would compromise the experience that you want to give people. And so where are there places where it's like, I know that this could be done cheaper or faster, but I don't want to because it takes away from the service. We were talking about this morning. I have given so many people ideas to make so much more money and they don't run with it. Drives me nuts. So, we go get our hair done, and there's two experiences actually. Like, I go get my hair done and I have told my hair person so many times, like, if you would offer some kind of like scalp massage with this, like I would gladly pay whatever you charge me for it. And she was telling me that there's a place down the road that all they do, like, they don't do hair, they don't do colors and cuts and all that stuff. They just do like scalp therapy and scalp massages and stuff like that. And she told me last time I talked to her about this a few months ago, they're booked out for like 2-3 months ahead. And so I'm like, and the thing is that, yeah, there's some skill that goes into that. It's not just something that, a mechanic is just going to start doing and they're going to be an expert at it. There is an experience that goes along with that, but it is something that, because it is such a premium service and it would be such a profitable add-on, why would you not look into figuring out a way to do this instead of having to always be attached to your chair? Because this person is, and I was trying to help her, like, you can get out of here, but if they don't have those goals, if they don't have that vision, you can give them all the ideas in the world and it will never matter because they can't see it for themselves like you can see it for them. And so that was just one of those things where it would take you more time. You would have less clients that you would be able to see in this chair. But if each one of those clients pays more in proportion and your cost to deliver that service to them is less, based on what they're paying, then you would make more money and you would have clients that are getting a more like a better experience, and you're seeing less people, so you're less overwhelmed. Why would you not take that up? And the other thing is, like, I've told these people that do my nails, like, if you would just get a chair in here where I could lay down, you know what I want. I get the same thing all the time. Just let me lay down and take a nap while I'm getting my nails done. I would pay you double for this service to be able to, and they like, nobody creates this stuff. Like, that is an intentional inefficiency that I would gladly pay for. And that's the thing I want you to understand, is that people will gladly pay for these things if it's going to give them relaxation, if it's going to give them something where they can't get this anywhere else, especially women that can get out of the house and they love their kids so much and they need a break from them. They will gladly pay for this stuff. But I mean, you can think back to your own patients, your own clients. Like, you should know what they want. Where are opportunities where you can enhance their experience, and it's not necessarily going to cost you anything more than time. And people love to know that you are giving them their time, even though they're paying for it. There's nothing more valuable than time. And people that really value that will understand the value of being given more space. And so that's one of the things I want you to think about when we're talking about processes. Yeah, we want them to be streamlined. We want to be able to measure our processes through data and KPIs and things like that, but not just creating things where you're pumping people through an assembly line. We are creating ecosystems here. And the thing that sticks in my mind about ecosystems is that in ecosystems, all of the elements thrive off of one another. In an assembly line, you're just pushing through things through there. Like, the end doesn't know the beginning. But in an ecosystem, everything works together to provide, what we see outside, right? And so we know of, like, nature as an ecosystem. And so I want you to think about your business like that. Like, how can all of these pieces of our team, of our client results journey, of our processes, how can they feed one another, not just be an extension thereof? And so, and designing your processes like that. And then once you have clarity on those things, then you can assess your pricing. Now, we have a pricing calculator, again, in Progress University, where once you are clear on those things, you know the time it takes to offer this thing to these people. You know the cost that it goes in there as far as the actual materials or consumables or products, whatever the case may be. It's super simple for you to be able to assess your pricing. And there's more details on that in there. So go check that out. And then the last part of that, like when you're assessing your pricing, is what is the volume you need to achieve? And this is one of those things where you reverse engineer your profitability through this system, through the way that we do pricing. So we don't focus on putting a price in there and figure out all the costs. You figure out all the costs and then you put the price on it. And a lot of people are not doing that the right way. So once you have that on there, then the next part of that is just, what does the volume need to be to achieve our goals, our financial goals with that? So it's super simple. So you got your price times volume, you're done. Annualize that and you have a forecast. And then the last part of this, as far as the 7 P's, because profitability and positive cash flow are not the same thing. Now, smaller businesses, this isn't really something you're going to run into a whole lot. Med spas, you definitely will. Any business that has inventory, if you are purchasing materials, products up front that you are not using until a later time, then this is definitely something for you to focus more on and systems around that. But especially any business that you have a team in place, there is, I mean, you got to think about anytime you see something moving in your business, a person, a machine, a product, a service, or something, there's money attached to that. And so, but it doesn't always mean that it has a profit effect. Sometimes it just focuses on your cash flow. And one of the things that this makes me think about is, especially this time of year where our clients aren't necessarily going to come up with this, but I know a lot of people do, is that they made a lot of money in their business that maybe they weren't expecting, or maybe they were, but they weren't good at managing their cash. And so they spent all of that money, whether they did it in good intentions or they just have poor spending habits, whatever the case may be. And then they're going to get to tax time and they're going to have a tax bill and they're not going to be able to have the money to pay for it out of pocket. So they're going to have to be on an installment plan or something like that. So maybe their pricing and their profitability wasn't an issue, but their cash flow systems were, because they didn't have a good system to make sure that taxes were a thing. They didn't have to, it was like mindless activity for them. And that's the way that proper tax planning should be. So I think about tax planning a lot when it comes to positive cash flow. And then especially in companies where Maybe you sell to people on account where you get paid later, but you give them the product or their service now. This is especially important. I see this get a lot of people in trouble where you're priced profitably as far as your margins are concerned, but you don't have good processes around collections. And so it's not that people don't want to pay you or they won't, but people just they're going on about their life and they don't think of it. Now there are some people in there that have ill intent. And but the thing is that when you increase that time from the pain to the experience, and what I mean by that is the time that they get the delivery of the product or service to the time when they have to pay for it, they don't really see the benefit for it the longer they have to wait for it or the longer they have to get to pay for it. And so this is where being really critical around systems around managing your money. How are you getting it? Is that controlled? Are you clear on that? How is it going out? Do you have systems and processes around that? Especially as your company grows and gets bigger, you have other people that are involved in paying bills for you, having approval processes in there. This is all stuff that relates to cash flow. And this is something where when we go into looking into something that a lot of people may not be familiar with, but internal controls for bigger companies like multi-million dollar organizations, then internal controls are so important. And this is one of those things that actually it is an investment. It can seem like it can cost a lot of money at first to get these things implemented, but it actually makes your business way more valuable when you already have these things in place. And that is important because if you haven't already considered this, at some point in time, you're going to want to be able to step out of your business. And you may not even necessarily want to sell it, but especially if you want to sell it, these little things are going to add up so that it makes it much more valuable. And so that's why these are the 7 core components of building a very profitable business. Everything that you need is addressed within one of these, and you can easily make any one of these your big domino. Over 7 years, you go through all of these, you will have a business on auto tune if you're very intentional about it. I have no doubt whatsoever. And a lot of people, I think that a lot of people are clear on their own purpose. They just need to better document it and communicate it with people and make sure that that emanates everything that you create from the top down, right? Because top leadership is a top down thing. So using that to really go through and assess what is the thing where it's like if you focused on nothing else but this for the next year, it was the theme of all the decisions that you make, all the projects you engage in, the core initiatives that you set, when you were looking at your KPIs and you understand like over in your subconscious, this is what we're focusing on. How is it adding value to you to that? And just trusting that when you focus on this one thing, there's going to be so many other things that benefit as a result. And what I love about this too is that you start to realize that you're going to get your mind is going to want to have resistance to doing this because our brains want security and it thinks that if we diversify or we do more things that we're going to be more secure, and that's not true. And so I want you to be aware of that about your own self because our brains want security and it wants us to survive. It's not necessarily caring about us thriving, but it wants us to survive. And so it's going to focus on I need to have all of these options. And you don't need to have all of those options. You really don't. And so again, going back to have all of your artillery, all of your weapons, all of your energy, all of your focus going toward this one thing. And it's going to help you start to realize how unessential so many things actually are. And what it made me think of is my favorite book, Essentialism, and where they talk about less but better all the time and how that word priority wasn't even pluralized until the early 1900s.
I don't
What
think
you have, Courtney?
that. Well, I was just gonna say, as you're talking I've shared this analogy with you and with the team many times, but one of my favorite analogies about what is, the quickest way to drill for oil. And you think about 2 different strategies. You can either go a mile wide and a foot deep, or you can go a mile deep and a foot wide. And it's obvious that drilling a mile deep and a foot wide is going to get you closer to striking oil than going a mile wide and a foot deep. And that's essentially what you're doing with the big domino is you're going all in, you're going a mile deep and a foot wide because you're ready to strike oil, and the oil is the success in your business. And that's going to look like many different things and come in many different forms, but that's essentially what the big domino is.
Yeah, it is. It makes me think like I need to create like the progress map where it's like I want you to envision a graph, and we do not want to focus on exponential growth right out the get-go, because what happens a lot of times is people, they are not prepared for it mentally or with the systems. And so I've seen this happen to so many people. They have this huge growth, they have this huge spike, but they can't sustain it. It snaps, and then they make it mean something about them, and then they go into this failure spiral and all this stuff. And the worst part is like, I don't even know it's the worst part, but they also, because they grew so fast, it was almost like chaos. And so they didn't have time to do the stuff that was boring but essential. And so they spike up real fast, but then it falls. And so we don't want that. We want you to, I pictured on that graph as like it is a slow incline, and then it just takes off, because you're going to still be growing while you're implementing these systems, while you are getting really clear on what your business means, and then it is going to take off. Actually, Courtney, that reminds me, I don't know if you've seen it yet. Go check out the sales girls on Instagram, and they have a screenshot of their revenue for the last 3 years, and watch how it spiked up in the third year last year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's just like that. But that's how it is. It's like you were learning, you were getting those reps in, like you were doing the basic boring stuff, and you have to have faith. And that is why I go back, your purpose has to be so solid. You have to be so committed, like shackled and chained to that purpose. Because there's going to be so many times where you're going to be like, I want to burn this down, and I want to encourage you, don't do that. And I want to leave you with this, and just going through the big domino is, we go through and we're setting goals, and I think we're tempted to want more all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that, but being clear on like, why do you want more, or what are you wanting more of? Because sometimes if we're not careful, we can get more of something, and it gives us more of something else that we didn't expect with it. And so I want to encourage you that when you are setting your goals and you're going through each new year, and we are going through and we're doing this for 2025, is instead of adding more to your plate or thinking like, what can I do this year? Ask yourself, like, what can I take off of my plate, or what can I do less of, or what do I need to get rid of? Because again, that just adds more. Anything more a lot of times adds complexity. And I think for me, just getting older, and I think a lot of people could say this, but the older I get, the less that I care about as far as like the world. Like the most important things are always going to be relationships. And so I'm always looking for, how can I meet more people? How can I have better conversations with people? How can I have more relationships with people? And money, and being well known, and social media, and business growth, and growing your business and your team and all this stuff, like that stuff will happen. But I don't want more of the wrong. I don't want to have 100,000 clients if it means that I'm going to hate my life. I'd rather have 100 if it meant I would love it. And that's exactly, like, I've been through that. So I can say that. So in going through this year, one of the things that I thought like when I was setting my goals is like, what can I get rid of? So with this domino, because a lot of times processes, it's not that they're not good processes, they have too much stuff going on in them. So you got to simplify it. And I don't know if you're still on this kick, Court, but I still haven't drank any soda since we quit that.
Yes. Oh, good.
Have you?
I did when I was sick, but I haven't since.
I almost messed up the other day. I almost got some ocean water from Sonic, and I was like, no, there's Sprite in that. So I still haven't had soda, but I went through and I eliminated some more stuff from consumption for myself this year. So far, I'm going strong. We'll see if I stick to it or not. But that was the thing where it's like, I let go of this stuff that I was consuming that I knew was making me feel bad. And I have had this miraculous energy for the last 8 days. And I really can't fathom why I would want to start consuming it again, because it's directly related to that. So I didn't have to add anything. I didn't have to add a lot of supplements. I didn't have to start working out more. I didn't need to drink more caffeine. God knows I need to stop, really. That's probably going to need to be my next thing, really. But I focused on elimination to elevate, right? And so that's again like the premise of the domino, is helping you to eliminate everything else that doesn't truly matter, and to focus on a priority, not priorities. I want to discourage you from setting priorities to focus on one priority. And again, what got you here will not get you there. So being the CEO of a company, you cannot keep doing more. What you'll find is like you've actually got to do less emails, less means of. One of the things I love that Cody Sanchez says is be easy to find but hard to reach. So really embodying that since she said that, and it has worked really well. Got me a lot of my sanity back for sure. And having a great team that gets that too, so that helps. So I hope that helps people go back and set your intention. I would love to hear, like, drop us a message in Telegram, or y'all know how to get in contact with us, or tag us in Instagram and tell us what your big domino was. I would love to know what that is. As far as, do you have anything else to add to that, Court?
No. Drill
Awesome.
a mile deep and a foot wide.
Yes. Yeah, that was a great analogy. Couldn't think of that one a while ago. So perfect. That's why you're here. Awesome. Well, yeah, set your big domino, and then our next chat will be the 28th, I believe, and so we will see you all then. And again, be on the lookout for some information coming regarding our referral program and Texas.
The 29th. That's what we have.
Oh, I had to move it back. I just hadn't shared it with y'all yet. I had to move it back because I had a conflict.
Well, just kidding then.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a great day. Let's grow.